The rain had been falling for hours, the kind that soaked through shoes and made the road shimmer like broken glass under passing headlights. Most people rushed past it, heads down, collars up, pretending the storm didn't exist. But she felt every drop. Her name was Lena Brooks. She was 26, black, exhausted, and standing at the edge of a nearly empty parking lot. After a double shift at a roadside diner just outside the city, her uniform clung to her skin, damp and cold. The diner manager had already locked the door behind her without a word. No umbrella, no ride. Just the long walk to the bus stop and the sound of rain pounding against her thoughts. Lena had learned early not to expect help. She grew up watching her mother work 3 jobs and still come home worried about rent. Kindness in her world was something you gave, not something you waited for. Waiting only led to disappointment. As she crossed the street, headlights slowed beside her. A beat-up white pickup rolled to a stop. The driver leaned out slightly, rain splashing onto his jacket. "You need a ride?" he asked. Lena hesitated. She'd learned to be careful, but she shook her head politely. "I'm okay. Thank you." The truck drove on. She kept walking. That's when she noticed him. An old man stood several yards ahead, struggling against the rain. He wore a dark suit soaked through, leather shoes ruined, thin gray hair plastered to his forehead. In one hand he carried a worn briefcase. The other clutched the edge of the road as if the world itself might slide out from under him. Cars passed. None stopped. Lena slowed. Every logical part of her said to keep going. She was tired, cold, late, and people like her didn't get rewarded for being good. Samaritans. They got taken advantage of. But something about the way the old man leaned forward, like each step might be his last, wouldn't let her move. "Sir?" she called over the rain. He didn't hear her at first. When he turned, his eyes widened slightly, surprised anyone had noticed him at all. "Are you okay?" she asked, stepping closer. He tried to smile. "Just missed my ride," he said. His voice trembled, not from fear but from cold. "You shouldn't be out here in this," Lena said. "I'll manage," he replied, though his knees told a different story. Without thinking too hard, Lena shrugged out of her thin jacket and held it out. "Here, at least take this." The man froze. "Oh no, I couldn't." "You can," she said firmly, draping it over his shoulders. "I work right there." She gestured toward the diner. "I can get another one." That wasn't true. It was her only jacket. She flagged down the next car that slowed and convinced the driver to let the old man sit inside while she explained directions. Before closing the door, she leaned in. "My name's Lena," she said. "You'll be okay now." The old man nodded, eyes wet, not from the rain this time. "Thank you," he said quietly. You have no idea what this means." She smiled, stepped back, and watched the car disappear into the storm. Then she turned and walked to the bus stop, shivering. The next morning, everything went wrong. Lena arrived 5 minutes late to work. 5 minutes. Her shoes were still damp from the night before. Her hair wouldn't behave. The manager, Carl, was already in a foul mood. "You're late," he snapped as soon as she stepped inside. "I'm sorry," she said. "The bus—" "I don't care about excuses," he cut in. "We've had complaints. You're distracted. Customers want better service." She knew what that meant. Complaints from people who didn't like her tone, her face, her existence. She lowered her eyes. "I'll do better," she said. Carl folded his arms. "This is your last warning." Her stomach dropped. The breakfast rush hit hard. Orders piled up. One customer complained she didn't smile enough. Another snapped his fingers at her like she was invisible. Lena swallowed every insult. She needed this job. Then the door opened. The entire room shifted. A man entered wearing a crisp suit, dry despite the weather. His posture was straight, his expression calm but commanding. Conversations lowered. Even Carl's tone softened instantly. "Good morning," the man said. Lena looked up. Her breath caught. It was him, the old man from the rain, except now he didn't look lost or fragile. He looked powerful. Carl rushed forward, hand extended. "Sir, I didn't expect you so early." The man glanced past him, eyes locking onto Lena. Recognition sparked immediately. "Neither did I," he said. Carl followed his gaze. "Is something wrong?" The man didn't answer right away. He walked over to Lena's section and stopped in front of her. "Good morning," he said gently. She nodded, stunned. "Good morning, sir." "You gave me your jacket last night," he said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. The room went silent. Carl blinked. You know each other?" The man smiled slightly. "No, but she knew me when no one else did." He turned to Carl. "You must be the manager." Carl straightened. "Yes, sir." "I'm Harold Whitman," the man said. The color drained from Carl's face. "Whitman Group, the company that owned the diner, and dozens of others. I came today unannounced," Harold continued calmly, "to see how my employees are treated when no one thinks they're being watched." He gestured to Lena. "Last night, this young woman saw a stranger struggling in the rain and helped him without expecting anything in return. This morning I watched her be spoken to like she was disposable." Carl stammered. "Sir, I was just saving money," Harold finished. "Managing through fear." He shook his head. "That ends today." Harold turned back to Lena. "You could have walked past me." "You didn't. That tells me everything I need to know." He addressed the room. "Kindness like that doesn't come from policy. It comes from character." Carl was dismissed before lunch. Lena sat in the back afterward, shaking. Harold joined her. "I didn't help you for this," she said quietly. "I know," he replied. "That's why it matters." He offered her a promotion, paid training, and later helped her enroll in school. Not as charity, but as recognition. As Harold stood to leave, Lena finally found her voice. "Why were you walking in the rain?" He smiled softly. "Sometimes you need to remember what it feels like to be ignored." The rain had stopped by the time he left. Lena watched the sunlight spill through the diner windows, warming the floor. For the first time in a long while, the world felt fair, not because it had changed overnight, but because one small act of humanity had finally been seen, and that was enough.